Welcome to Dubbzi Bricks for an episode of Building Gotham City in Lego. A couple of updates ago, somebody asked if I could do an overview of Gotham City, what we've built so far, for those that are new to the channel. And it's a great idea. I haven't gone over this in a fair while. And the reason being is this has been a complete dumping zone recently, and I finally cleared it off. So now I can actually show everybody what we've got built so far in Gotham and what our plans are going forward, as the plans are constantly changing when we come up with new builds such as Ace Chemicals down the end there. So when we first come into the Lego room, you see the raised train line. Again, this has moved a few times, hence the state of the wall along here. I need to correct all of the brickwork there. I just need to bring it over this way by a couple of studs, and that's interfered with the wall on the edge. That is one thing I would like to get done quite soon, as well as the water, get that all tidied up. Still need to put a bit of road in here. But the raised train line will be going through this building just here, and this is going to be apartments on the top. This bit here will be a train station, then you have some arches, then the apartments. Below we're going to have a shop of some description. Around that side is a restaurant. Next to that we've got our L-shaped building, which looks like the owl from Lego, and that was not intentional, but we have got the Lego store on the corner of it, followed by what's going to be the Mad Hatter's shop, and then we've got a Vets down the end. And just behind here is going to be a takeaway of some description. The restaurant that's going just there, we've already put the jumper plates outside ready for the tables and chairs. Next to that, we have got our Flatiron-esque building, which is going to be the Gotham Gazette. And I may very well add another floor or two onto that. Again, somebody did ask a little while ago, am I going to be building more skyscrapers? And the answer is yes. This end of the city, I want there to be a really impressive skyline and a lot of height in the city. Next to that, we have the footprint here for what's going to be the Shrek Tower. And I'm going to be using Batman Begins, the top of the build, as my inspiration for that. And I very may well have Selina Kyle either fallen from the window or actually landed in the alleyway with the cats around her. Next to that, we've got our Monarch Theatre. And again, I'm going to get a little bit more height in the Monarch Theatre. So that is going to be Crime Alley just down there. And behind we have our fire station, which is inspired by the modular set that came out a few years ago. And also some images that I found online. Under here, I was originally going to be putting the Iceberg Lounge. However, that's going to be going in a different location now. And then here we have our Gotham Bridge, which will be a suspension bridge. It did have the suspension parts on there at one stage. However, when I did one of the recent changes to the city, I did end up having to remove them and just haven't got around to tidying it all up. But I do want to put lights in the structure. So that is, again, something that will be coming in the future. Next up, we have the docks, which is what we were working on in our last update. The Joker's Funhouse will be going. That's just been popped there for the time being, so it's not sat on the floor. And then down the end here, we have Arkham Asylum on Arkham Island. And behind, we have the start of the Lady of Gotham, which will have a defaced head looking like a Joker. Over the back, we have Ace Chemicals. And this area here, we're going to have silos, pipes. I might end up changing the road layout, as originally I did the roads like that, so we had the Joker's Funhouse there, but now I'm not going to be doing that. That is going to change a little bit, but it's easy changes to make. We have our subway entrance just there. We're going to have a tall building just here, the hospital, and then the train station. Now, in the update before last, somebody did ask about the Joker's submarine pen, because we've got the submarine just down here. Am I going to be reintroducing that following the amendments to the docks? And I hadn't even thought about it, to be honest, but I do think that is a great idea. So I am considering actually putting the submarine pen in this area here, and then on top of that have the 44 below bar, and then the Iceberg Lounge on top, or just the Iceberg Lounge. It could work out really well having it on multiple levels. So the Iceberg Lounge is up the top. However, I'm not sure how easy it would be to get to the Iceberg Lounge from the raised platform area due to the fact you've got the raised train line there. So it's just something that I'm considering at the moment, how I go about it. It's a very good chance the Iceberg Lounge, you will only be able to get access to it from the docks area. Now back to this part of the city, we have got our stock exchange, which is going to be rotated around 90 degrees. And then the green area here, we're going to have a park, a very small park in Gotham City. I just want to have some trees and maybe a pond or something like that to bring some much needed life and colour into Gotham. And then just here, we're going to have our cathedral. We've got the courthouse just there. Unfortunately, the justice statue on the front has been damaged, so we need to rebuild that. And yeah, that just needs a bit of a revamp and tidying up. A lot more details need to be added to it. And then we have our Old Wayne Tower here. Now, the Old Wayne Tower, that does, again, need a lot of work doing to it. The Lego room is in a garage, and the roof is higher on this side than it is on this side. This structure was built and it was over here. Now I've moved over there, I've got to shrink it, and I can't actually fit it on the table at the moment, so I need to modify it just very slightly. It's only by a couple of bricks, but I do want to do more work on this structure anyway. At the moment, there is no bat cave in Gotham City, and there's very little room to put one. So what I'm considering doing is modifying the bottom of here, so it's got an R&D section for Lucius Fox, and then there'll possibly be some form of bat cave in this area just here. We're going to have the raised road, or the road that leads from the lower sections of Gotham up to the raised platform. So there is going to be a small area here where we could potentially put something. So that's just something I'm thinking about at the moment. This mess here, that is the GCPD. What a state that has got into. So this is where we're going to be putting the GCPD, and that's one structure I can't wait to get started on. There's the front view of our fire station, and there is another building there which I think was just a restaurant and a couple of apartments, which again we need to do some more work on there. We've got the ramp that leads up and down to the bridge, and then this is, as I said, where the train station is going to be. This structure in here was originally the Old Wayne Terminus and was the Batcave. However, it wasn't going to work in the new layout that we've got of Gotham City, so I've had to change it, and it's now just going to be the existing working train station of Gotham. So there we have it. That's how Gotham City's looking at the moment. It needs a lot of work doing to it, and there's no life in the city at all at the moment. I really do need to start building things like trees, put cars on here, get minifigures in here, and I'm almost at that stage where I've got the foundations and the layout how I want it to be, so that I can bring this city to life. So now what I do is work out what we're going to work on in this update. And I've decided that the submarine pen is going to be going just here. I think that's the perfect structure for this part of Gotham City, and having the iceberg lounge on top is going to work out really well as well. So what I'm going to do first of all, we'll move the funhouse up to the raised platform, just pop it somewhere for the time being, as I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that structure yet. I don't want to just destroy it. I want to see if there's any way of repurposing it somehow. We're then going to take the two base plates underneath over to my table, merge them together, as this is one structure that I do actually want to build into the actual base itself. Because of the way it's going to be built, it's going to be a lot easier than having a removable section. So let's get that all moved and get over to the table, and let's get building. And here we have two very dusty sections of the docks area and another dusty submarine. So the first thing we're going to do is give that a good clean, get rid of as much dust as possible. Now, in regards to the size of the structure we're going to be building, I'm going to stick to these 6 art plates here. Be nice to leave those for the rest of the docks, and the raised train line go above the other ones just there. So it's about the right size for it. I may even sort of narrow it a little bit. So first thing we need to do after cleaning this is to join the two mills plates together, reinforce it so it's easy to move about, and then put the water in the bottom, and then we can start building up. Now I'm going to make this very similar in style to the previous submarine pen that we made. I did unfortunately destroy the last one. There was a couple of parts I needed. It got damaged whilst moving it around as well, and in the end the whole thing got destroyed. So without further ado, let's get this all cleaned up, and then we can make a start on the work. And it's always so satisfying seeing the wave effect all finished on a section of Gotham City. I've gone for a different colour inside of the pen here using the dark trans tiles. I think they're classed as dark brown, as I'm getting quite low on the blue ones, and I thought it doesn't matter what colour they are in there. It could be that the base is a different colour to what's outside, so I thought that got away with that absolutely fine. Now I've got the wave effect all the way along here, but I've made sure that I haven't put any where the doors are going to open. That way when I build the doors I can actually have them touching the water just there. Now this is the footprint that we're going to be having for the submarine pen, and what I'll do, I'll build this up so it's a permanent structure, as I mentioned before, so it's permanently attached to the base plates. And then what we'll do is we'll have the next floor up, which will be either the below 44 or the iceberg lounge, or both, and they will be modular, so they'll be able to lift off. So I just need to make sure that I've got the wires in place where I need them as I go along, and we'll just use the wireless connectors as we normally do. With this entire area, it's going to come up by a further 2 plates, as it does in the rest of the docks. So I'll do a little pavement area outside this part here, and then the rest of it I think I'm just going to leave ready for tarmacking effect on there. I've also got the train supports as well to go on as well, so there's no point me doing too much work along that section. But let's get the pavement area all sorted, carry on building the walls up, and I'll check back in once we've made a little bit more progress. And there we have the submarine pen all in place on the docks, and really happy with the size of it. I think it's coming on nicely. It's going to be a few more bricks higher in the nougat colour there, and then obviously have the roof on top of that as well. So by the time I finished it, it's probably going to be very similar height to the Falcone shipping warehouse there. Now, at one stage I was considering having the 44 below bar on top of here and then the iceberg lounge above that. However, I don't think that's going to look right once it's all completed. I feel if I go down that route, we're going to start to have something the size of the old funhouse over there, and it's just going to look out of proportion for this part of Gotham City. So now what I'm considering doing is working out to put something in this area just here, and then have the iceberg lounge above it. So it's going to be inside the train track, and there'll be a connection between that building and the submarine hangar. So when the Penguin needs to go down there, then he'll have his passageway, how we can get to it. So that's just something I'm thinking about at the moment. I feel like the iceberg lounge could work quite nicely in that area. It's just how people would actually get to the iceberg lounge. Obviously, they're going to have the train track in the way, so I need to have a bridge going over it. I suppose I could have some sort of crossing, but I just don't like the idea of that. I just don't think it's going to feel right. So just going to have a good think about it, but that's the plan at the moment for this area here. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take this back over to my table, get the electrics all put into this, get some details put on the inside. Now, it's quite hard to see inside the submarine pen from this part of Gotham, and even if you stand down this end here and look down again, you're not going to see a massive amount. So I'm not going to go over the top with details, as yeah, it's going to be a waste of bricks basically. And there we have it. The walls are all built up. We've got the crane in the middle of there for loading things onto the submarine. And this moves along the pillars. This part here moves along the rails there. And you've also got this part here, which will bring the chain up and down. This isn't the best design in the centre here, and I am going to be improving that in the future. I just couldn't find the parts I wanted to do exactly how I want it to be, basically. So that is, yeah, something we can easily do. The good thing is this just lifts off, so it is something that's very easy for me to replace. Because this is going to be a modular build as well, it's going to be just as easy to get in there. Now, I also, in the time lapse, you would have seen, destroyed this corner here, and I built it out, and that's how I could feed the wire through. So that's got the wireless connector on the top there, which will then supply the power to the build above here. And that's where I will build the lights in to light up the submarine pen. And that wire then comes out on the bottom there. So that's now on the art plates or on top of it. So that wire I will eventually connect up to the rest of the lights on the docks area. So that way it's all going to switch on at the same time. Now, I'm not sure what I'm going to do on the roof section just here yet, as I'm not 100% sure of the style of build I want on here. I want to have the iceberg lounge up in this sort of like area, so I need a way for the penguin to come along, and I might even do it so it comes down into the submarine pen here. So there might be a hatch in the roof or a doorway on the top there, and then I'll just put a shelf coming along here. But I've still got a lot of details that I need to do inside the submarine pen, but we'll worry about that a little bit later. Anyway, that's all we have time for. Hope you've enjoyed the update. If you have, please remember to give us a big thumbs up. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content on the channel. If you know anybody else you think could be interested in building Gotham City and Lego, if you could share the channel with them, it'd be much appreciated. Anyway, thanks for popping by. Till the next time, bye for now.